In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with FlightGear and Anaconda, Scientific Python, and of course Git, so that we can do the control tutorial in Windows. Notice I'm assuming Windows 10. I'm not quite sure how this would work in older versions. First thing I want to show you is how to download FlightGear. Just Google FlightGear and you'll find that a link to FlightGear.org. Here we are at FlightGear.org. Frightfully pretty website. It's about to get really ugly. One thing to watch out for: the massive amount of ads here, which are designed to just trick you. Clicking this. Don't click things unless you're certain you know what you are, because this isn't going to try and download FlightGear for you. This is something else. To download FlightGear, we go to this page, the Download Central. Here we are. Again, lots of things designed to lure you away to clicking them. Don't worry about this. What you're looking for is down here. Grab the latest stable version. This jumps me over to SourceForge. Again, a million things to watch for. Thing to watch is, does that number go down? If not, click on the problems downloading. Something wasn't quite right there. 54321. And bingo, it'll let me download the thing. Save. Quite a big download, I'm afraid. 2 gigs. Comes with all the scenery for Hawaii. Once FlightGear is downloaded, so Windows doesn't recognize it. I'm going to run it anyway because it's something I've done before. Accept the agreement. Disable your antivirus. I'm not going to do that. I don't like that idea. I've never done that before. And now we go into essentially an almighty great extract process. So that's all done. Let's click finish. Now let's test that that loaded. Got FlightGear up here, recently added. Here we go. So for first run, we're going to need to say OK to this, and then we have this wizard that's going to get us started. Aircraft. Let's see if I can find the one I need. Add the default hangar. And now, by default, the aircraft we need is hidden, but if you undo this filter up here, then we get a lot more aircraft that we can mess with, and we're looking for this, the Allegro 2000 with wheels. So click on Install over here. Incidentally, if you're worried about what an aircraft without wheels would be used for, it's the version with floats if you want to pretend to be a seaplane. So now go back to where it's installed, and I've got this. So if I click on that, I'm just installing it. So this is the one I'm going to fly with to begin with. The location, hit the little back button and go and choose where we go. I recommend you go to Honolulu. Who wouldn't want to go to Honolulu? And put yourself on runway 04L. Environment, time of day should be set to morning. Probably dark in Hawaii, so if I had it in real time, it would just be sitting there at night time. And then let's just check the settings. The thing I want you to make sure of is this thing down here. So you can have whatever you like down here, but then minus minus props equals 5051. That must be in this box somewhere down here for additional settings. That opens up the back door so that Python will be able to talk to us. All good, let's hit fly. Ignore that, that's because I had FlightGear on here before. Here's my little splash screen, that's encouraging. My fan just kicked in because I did tell you it's a very hungry program. There are ways of turning the graphics needs down if you find your laptop struggling. And here we are in Honolulu. Let's kill this at this point and install the other software we're going to need. First of all, if I go over to the GitHub page for this course, which is there, go and have a look at my repositories, and there's control tutorial. Let's grab the code here, and I'm going to put that, clone that into my local Python folder. Now, on Windows, I have Git installed, and I type git bash here, so that just opens up a command prompt. Git clone, and then right click and paste, and that pastes in the URL. And there we go. So if I go over to that file now, here's my control tutorial page, and here's all the stuff I'm going to need. Okay, so now I'm going to open up Spider. So if I go to Anaconda, so this is going to be my front end, and then ignore the fact that I've got two of them. You're just looking for the one that says Anaconda 3. This unfortunately takes a little while to load. Okay, it'll open with whatever it is that you had open last time, so ignore what you're looking at now. I'm going to go to Documents, Python, Control Tutorial, and I'm going to open this thing called testinterface.py. I need to run up FlightGear again. So there's FlightGear. It should remember the settings I had from last time. The Allegro with wheels. Just check in here. Props equals 5051. Location Honolulu 04 left. Let's hit fly. Got to wait for this to run again. I'm going to press H to turn on the heads-up display, and then I'm going to come back to Spider for a minute, and I'm going to run this file just by pressing F5. Now here we see some numbers coming up. These are the numbers that are the vertical speed coming out of the aircraft. It's not 0, but it's pretty close to it, so that shows that I'm getting data back. If I come over here, if I look at that little indicator there, it shows me that my elevator is moving up and down. So that's success. So I can come back over here, I can go down to the console down here and click Control C. This is like a little Python console that I can run directly in, so it makes it nice and easy to run. And now the final thing I want to do is open another file that was in here called fgplot.py. Don't worry about all the gory details of what's in it, but just hit F5. Now, if I then go up to plots up here, sometimes this will come up in here. It depends on the settings you've got. I've got another window open, and there's my plot showing the vertical speed was bouncing a bit as I wobbled the elevator, but there's the elevator working up and down between 0.75 and minus 0.75. So this shows that everything's working. So I can get data out of the simulator and I can get data into the simulator. Excellent. Okay, that's all for Spider for now. Last thing we need to be able to do is get ourselves airborne. I could try and do this with a nice automated script, but I haven't had time to write that yet, so you're just going to have to do it by hand. First of all, we push 3 times on the curly brace to the right button to turn the power on. You can actually see the little key in the bottom corner here turning around as we do that. That's turning the ignition of the plane on. I'm going to push numeric keypad 9 and you'll see that turn the throttle over on the left hand side open. Now I push S and there's my engine started. Quickly Control B, take the handbrake off and I'm rolling. Don't worry about runways, runways are for wimps. Let's let the field get to about 50. The speed over on the left hand side gets to about 50 and just push the down arrow 3 or 4 times and you'll find yourself getting in the air. Now this isn't a particularly great way to fly. If you want to try and fly it with the arrow keys, you're more than welcome. That's me just leveling it out, but it's pretty forgiving. What I recommend you do at this point is hit F11 and turn the autopilot on. Vertical speed to 0 and heading bug to 180 due south. Hit close on there. We should level off on south, and here's us heading for a sunny but quite dull flight southwards into the middle of nowhere of the Pacific. If you're able to get to this point and you've had all the tests pass, then great, we're ready to start playing around with controllers. Incidentally, if at any point you need to go off and write some code and you don't want to leave this running, just put P and it'll pause the simulation.